be a good devotee. However, we should try to make our japa great. And what if one morning, or afternoon or evening, we suddenly came to the realization that we've been needlessly working hard for people who don't care about our ultimate welfare, and that death and taxes are not inevitable, that we can rise above them. Well, that's the message of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, that we're not meant for this world. We have a higher mode of existence, which has to do with the goings-on in the spiritual world, which are full of bliss and knowledge, and they're based on loving service, not hard work and drudgery and death. And then what if we found out there was a method through which we could transform our hearts, minds, and transfer ourselves to that realm? And then what if we found out it was easily available to every human being who has a tongue and the inclination to be connected to that world? Well, such a thing has happened, and that's why we're here. So the rest of the world may consider that this is a normal place, but it's not, this meaning the material world. And Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, to those who have a hankering for more, who have tasted something unusual and want to enter into that realm, given the Mahamantra. So it's a prayer which is begging a Krishna and Radharani for service. We're simply begging for service in that realm, which may begin and does begin in this realm. The mode of service doesn't have to wait to be transferred somewhere. It has to do with our intention. So as we chant today, we can remember how fortunate we are to have received this information from the spiritual world and the means to transfer ourselves there, even while we're in this world. And in about 20 minutes, I'll read a couple of quotes to you from the Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita that I think you'll like very much, about the origin of the Hare Krishna mantra. Jaya Śrī Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna. From the Madhya Lila, 21st chapter, 145th verse. The vibration of his flute is just like a bird that creates a nest within the ears of the gopis and always remains prominent there, not allowing any other sound to enter their ears. Indeed, the gopis cannot hear anything else, nor are they able to concentrate on anything else, not even to give a suitable reply. Such are the effects of the vibration of Krishna's flute. Purport. The vibration of Krishna's flute is always prominent in the ears of the gopis. Naturally, they cannot hear anything else. Constant remembrance of the holy sound of Krishna's flute keeps them enlightened and enlivened, and they do not allow any other sound to enter their ears. Since their attention is fixed on Krishna's flute, they cannot divert their minds to any other subject. In other words, a devotee who has heard the sound of Krishna's flute forgets to talk or hear of any other subject. This vibration of Krishna's flute is represented by the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A serious devotee of the Lord who chants and hears this transcendental vibration becomes so accustomed to it that he cannot divert his attention to any subject matter not related to Krishna's blissful characteristics and paraphernalia. And from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. In Brahma Samhita, a nice description of the flute of Krishna is given. When Krishna began to play on his flute, the sound vibration entered into the ear of Brahma as the Vedic mantra Om. This Om is composed of 3 letters, A, U, and M. And it describes our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities, by which we can achieve the highest perfection of love and the actual position of love on the spiritual platform. When the sound vibration of Krishna's flute is expressed through the mouth of Brahma, it becomes Gayatri. Thus, by being influenced by the sound vibration of Krishna's flute, Brahma, the supreme creature and first living entity of this material world, was initiated as a Brahmana. That Brahma was initiated as a Brahmana by the flute of Krishna is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. When Brahma was enlightened by the Gayatri mantra through Krishna's flute, he attained all Vedic knowledge. Acknowledging the benediction offered to him by Krishna, he became the original spiritual master of all living entities. So, the method of chanting japa is described in the first verse. That state of concentration after hearing which, after having heard the mantra and becoming captured by its sound vibration, then one doesn't divert one's mind anywhere else. And it also describes how it's an otherworldly sound vibration. It's coming from Krishna and his flute. So Prabhupada writes there that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the representation of the flute song of Krishna. And then we also hear that it's the way in which Brahma was fully enlightened by hearing it. So we can remember that when we're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that its origin is in the spiritual world, and that we're directly in touch with the sound vibration, and that it's coming from Krishna's flute. What do you think? Do you like it or not? Yes. Too much, right? Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Haribol. Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. We just have time for a few reflections of anything that you heard from the readings or realizations from your japa today. We'll take a couple microphones, if possible. Prabhu, just wait 1 second.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, Maharaj, thank you for those reflections. When you mentioned the first point that we do not belong to this material world, and our practice is that we need to start our service here and it continues and we have to go to the spiritual world. With that moment, when I started my japa, I was struck with a mountain of doubt that with so many inabilities in my practice, whether I'm qualified to even think like that. And at that moment, I remembered that about 3 years back, I came to this temple, I stood in front of Radharani and prayed that if it would be possible for me to come here. And then I realized that even though there were so many ups and downs, there was a pandemic, everything happened, finding a job, etc., but I'm still here. And that prayer actually was responsible for...
Haribo!
So ultimately it's the prayer, and then I remember Srila Prabhupada's word that actually Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a prayer. So in my capacity I have to pray. Please engage me in your service. And the second point that you mentioned about the experience that the gopis are having. And then I remembered the beautiful verse that Rupa Goswami has composed, Tunde Tundavali Vitanute. That when you're chanting his experience, that Krishna is dancing on your tongue, and then you require millions of years. And when it enters the courtyard of your heart, then everything becomes inert. So thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Asango Hyayam Purushaha. We have actually nothing to do with the material world. My various goals for dharma, artha, kama, moksha in this world are self-imposed. And we could also transfer our priority to the spiritual world. It's a matter of adjustment. The more that we adjust towards my goal being Krishna consciousness, although we have to maintain a modicum of maintenance in this material world. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for the for the reading from Madhya Lila. I really like the point that you mentioned about, and Srila Prabhupada mentioned about how the flute song of Krishna is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and how gopis, when it enters, the flute song enters their ears, it forms a nest and they cannot hear anything else, even they cannot respond. I was just trying to see how it's exactly opposite for us, that we want the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to enter, but there's so many distractions that it is somehow not finding a way. So I was just praying to Srimati Radharani that please let the sound vibration enter my ears somehow, and I can hear it better. So it was a nice meditation while chanting. And I was also thinking about the mercy of Srimati Radharani, because it's her appearance day, that she is the best servant and who can give service to all of us. If she can somehow have a slight glance on all of us, that we can somehow assist her in her service to Krishna. So it was a nice meditation today while chanting. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Haribol. Prabhu, 1, 2.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The respected obediences, thank you for arranging the japa session. So my reflection is, first of all, coming to the temple, and as we jap all together, whatever the disturbances in the mind, it just gets settles very much. And there is a feel of force, you feel a very stability after that. And as you were saying, mentioning that, yes, for the gopis as well as the sound was Hare Krishna was constantly in their mind and constantly going on. One thing which was arising, a question was that sometimes as we go through the world and in day-to-day circumstances, we need to take decisions every moment. And so sometimes even though we try to have that constant japa sometimes going in, but then we start engaging in the mind that this and that. So is there any thoughts, any things which you suggest?
Yeah, those are different kind of birds. They build a nest in your ear. So you got to let the right bird in. The other birds, you can persuade them to go nest somewhere, somebody else's ear who wants them there. Keep trying. Krishna says keep practicing. Prabhu, thank you very much. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the analogy in the beginning that we don't have to be a great devotee, we have to just be a good devotee, but our japa should be great. So I connected it that to humility. Humility means not to think ourselves less, but to think less of ourselves. So putting Krishna in the center. Also our service will save us, putting service in the center. And when we decorate our reflection in the mirror, we get decorated ourselves. So when we decorate Krishna, we also get decorated. So I was thinking all those points are coming because we are putting japa in the center. Our japa should be great. I might not be great, but ultimately my life will improve because I am improving the japa.
Haribol. We greet the deities in 2 minutes.